Welcome to Nerdgasm Quickie, the series where I bring you all the need-to-know information about heroes and villains in a timely yet loving manner, because I care. Today we're going to be going over Jean Grey, one of my favorite X-Men, a very complicated X-Men, and someone who has been resurrected who knows how many times at this point. Jean Grey is an Omega-level mutant, and since birth was categorized as one of the most powerful telepaths and telekinetics on the planet. Jean's powers manifested at a very young age after she witnessed the death of her best friend, and when her powers erupted, she actually felt the pain her friend felt as she died. Charles Xavier eventually came to try and help Jean learn to control her powers, and when he figured that Jean was ready, he offered her a spot on the X-Men. Years later, she'd find herself dying of radiation poisoning from her most recent mission with the X-Men. Now you would think that would be the worst thing that could possibly happen, but luckily for her, the Phoenix Force arrived, and after it took part of her form, personality, and consciousness, it placed Jean inside of a healing cocoon, and then it left Jean inside of a bay. The Phoenix actually took her form and then took her place on the X-Men. It started running around using the codename Phoenix and used its cosmic power to help the X-Men. Eventually, the Phoenix as Jean Grey runs into its first taste of evil because of the Hellfire Club, who wanted her to become the new Black Queen of their organization. But that did not end well for the Hellfire Club, because the Phoenix did not like to be toyed with. Unfortunately, this led to her becoming corrupted and turning her into the extremely dangerous and unstable Dark Phoenix. After she finished knocking around the X-Men with her cosmic Phoenix power, she decides to leave and take her power to outer space. Once the Dark Phoenix finds herself in deep space, she finds a star that's pretty much exactly like the sun, and she flies directly into it and instantly consumes it so that it could recharge its power. Because of this, the Phoenix completely decimated tons of planets. Eventually, Jean's personality was able to gain control over the Phoenix and had to commit suicide to destroy herself and the Phoenix. But it takes a lot more than that to kill a cosmic firebird. Years later, the Fantastic Four actually found the cocoon that Jean Grey was left in. At first, she had no memory of what happened, but eventually everything came back to her, and she would remember everything that the Phoenix did for the X-Men and everything it did as the Dark Phoenix. Now that Jean Grey was alive again and part of the X-Men, she returns to the crazy life of being a mutant superhero. She battles a clone of herself wielding the power of the Phoenix that was created by Mr. Sinister. She runs into a future version of a possible son she might have named Nate Grey. And then she also runs into another future version of a child that she might have named Rachel Summers. She finally marries Cyclops after years of dealing with the fact that he had a child with that clone that she had to fight. And through years of battling, her powers actually began to grow to the point where she adopted the codename Phoenix on her own, as well as the green and gold Phoenix costume. Years later, Jean would be killed by an X-Men named Zorn, who actually turned out to be Magneto in disguise. Magneto was able to send an electromagnetic pulse through her body that gave her a planetary-sized stroke. Of course, because she is a host for the Phoenix, she wouldn't stay dead for long. The Phoenix would come back looking for its host so that it could become whole again, because for some reason, the Phoenix had been reborn earlier than it should have. It snuck into the X-Mansion and spied on the Cuckoo sisters, thinking that they might make a suitable host. It then tried to see if Quentin Quire was strong enough to be its host, but Quentin was a weird pile of psychic goo at the time. And it even tried to see if Emma Frost could handle its powers, but that did not work out. Ultimately, it found Jean's grave and begged Jean to help it, just like the Phoenix Force helped her all those years ago. Jean initially refused to help the Phoenix because Jean knew that she wasn't ready to be resurrected. But the Phoenix went against her will and resurrected her anyway. This eventually led to a very complicated fight, with the Phoenix Force trying to kill the X-Men and at the same time become whole again. It used Jean Grey's body to become the Dark Phoenix again, but Jean was able to wrestle control of herself and freeze her body so that the Phoenix Force could be stopped. But the Phoenix Force was able to escape and jump into a new host. It decided to use Emma Frost, and it wanted to see if it could use the love that Cyclops had for Emma Frost at the time to become whole again. But when it realized that Scott's love wouldn't make it complete again, Jean Grey busted out of the ice and told the Phoenix that the problem was that the two of them were separated. Jean finally accepted the fact that she is the Phoenix and the Phoenix is her. And if they wanted to become whole again, they would have to die and be reborn in the White Hot Room. The weird thing about this is that Wolverine kills Jean multiple times in the Phoenix End song. I mean, he went crazy. He murdered her again and again and again, and this is the reason that Jean was able to wrestle control from the Phoenix the first time. But for some reason, it didn't stick. Once Jean recombined with the Phoenix, she sent herself to the White Hot Room and began looking for the fragments of the Phoenix Force throughout the Omniverse so that she could make the Phoenix whole again. Before she leaves, Jean tells Scott that she'll always be Jean Grey no matter what. and she uses her psychic power to suppress Scott's optic blast so that she could look into his eyes one more time before she left. This is pretty much the last official time we see Jean Grey. Eventually, Jean Grey will come back and possibly be wielding the power of the Phoenix. But for now, Jean Grey has to wait inside of the White Hot Room until she's ready to be reborn alongside the Phoenix. Let me know what you guys think about Jean Grey. Let me know what you think about the Phoenix Force. What X-Men do you guys want to learn about next? Or not even X-Men. What character? Anybody? Who cares what it is? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. You guys are awesome. I love you. Thank you for the support. I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.